Am I the asshole for not wanting to be responsible for my stepdaughter? I, 29 female, and my husband, 33 male, are a blended family. I have a son, 5, from a previous relationship and get along great with my ex who provides so much for our son. He's a great dad. My husband has a 3-year-old daughter and together we have a 4-month-old daughter. My SD's mom is not in her life at all and signed away her rights and OD'd after a heroin addiction, so she lives with us full time. After my daughter was born, I became a SOM to take care of my kids, discussed when I was pregnant and I did mean to her, but postpartum has been bad, so I have changed what I originally anticipated. My husband works and provides for the family financially. When I became a SOM, my husband assumed that I would take care of all the kids including his daughter. At the time I 100% agreed. He said that he was clear when we dated that his daughter did not have a mother and he wanted whoever he married to take on a full parental role, especially since her mom did not want her to show her that she was deserving of a mother's love. I agreed to this and agreed since I met her when she was a year old. I call SD my daughter, but using SD in this post for clarity. However, now after having a baby, I want to take care of my kids because I am so overwhelmed and would like my husband's family to watch my SD. My husband is furious at me and says he provides for the whole family and I wanted to be a SOM. He said I agreed to take care of SD and treat her as my own when we dated. I said that things have changed. He argued with me saying that he provides for my son and I countered saying that his dad does a lot for him. My husband got upset with me and said he knows he has a great dad but still takes care of him and treats him like he is his own son. He accused me of being an evil stepmom and hating his daughter. I do not hate his daughter. I am just overwhelmed with 3 little kids. Note: I had a traumatic birth and suffer from PPD, so this is not a permanent request of mine. My ex helps out more than usual with our son because of this. So am I the asshole for only wanting my SD to be home when my husband is there? Edit. I live far from my family. My ex is the only one who can help with my son, though my husband's family does treat my son like their own. I just felt like it would be unfair to let his family watch my son when I could give more time to my ex since he runs his own company and has flexible hours. My husband has a lot of family that can help with SD. #update. Talked to my husband when he came home and he agreed I needed more help. I told him that I love SD the same and that I am overwhelmed, and he told me he knows and just got stressed with SD's history with her BM. I asked if he could hire a nanny and he wants to save money for a new house in the district where my ex lives because the schools are better and he wants it to be easier for my son to go between houses when he is older so he struggles less with having to switch homes. He's just the best husband. I called my mom and she is coming to help me for a few months with all my kids, and my husband's in-laws are going to come over and help as well and take the kids out. My husband is taking a week off of work to get everything settled. I also plan on having one-on-one time with both the older kids, and my husband and I plan on having a date tomorrow while the kids are at his parents' home so that we get a night off. Lastly, I want to say that I love my SD with my whole heart. I will never stop being grateful that my little girl calls me mama. I will never forget the honor I get of being her mom. I am going back to the doctor tomorrow because I clearly need more help. You're trolling, right? Yes, you are the asshole. It's absurd you even had to post this to confirm. You are the asshole. You don't get to pick and choose that you'll take care of your children only when you married a man who has a child and no other parent around. You're straight up saying that you don't think of your SD as your daughter. Major, you are the asshole. Don't be shocked if he divorces you over this. Yeah, I think you're framing this completely wrong. It's not that you want a break from your daughter. It's that you want a temporary break from both your children because you are experiencing PPD and aren't coping well. It's just that your son's dad is already providing you with that break. This PPD is coloring the lens you view everything through. I'm wondering if you worded this so badly because you wanted to be called you are the asshole to perpetuate the wallowing, give your depression something to feed on. Please don't let your depression distort this, and please try to communicate well with your husband. I know it's hard, but he loves you and how you word things really matters. All the best. Huge, you are the asshole. End the relationship because you have no compassion. Yeah, YTA. You agreed to step up and be a primary caregiver, then you backed out after you quit working. He's supporting you and in turn provides support to your son. He did so expecting that you'd also help with his daughter. You may be having postpartum depression, and if so, go to your doctor. I'm a step-parent and I'd never tell my wife that I expect her to always be home when her daughters are here. I take care of them and parent them. Their dad is not in their lives. I knew that I'd be taking responsibility for them, and you knew that about your stepdaughter. You are the asshole. Seriously? I'm wondering if this poor little girl's name is Cinderella, because you're acting like the classic evil stepmother. You keep trying to say you just need help because you're overwhelmed. Which wouldn't be bad, but that is not what you wrote here. You said you only want SD home when your husband is. I can't even wrap my mind around your thought process. Flushed YTA. And you say his daughter way too much for someone who agreed to step up as mom. Am I the asshole for not wanting to share my savings with my wife? Update. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone for their opinions for and against. I appreciate the thoughts. I had written my original post in a hurry, and after seeing some comments I'd like to clarify a few things. 1. I am in no way minimizing the role of a SOM. When I said she doesn't work, I meant a job which yields an income. She works all day for my family and home, and I love and respect her for it. I've tried running the show a few times she's been away traveling, and I know how difficult it is keeping everything together. 2. Her being a SOM was our decision initially because the children were small and very dependent. As they've grown, I think, my opinion at least, she can look to getting a job part-time, online, or at least start thinking along those lines. But as it stands currently, she has no inclination now or in future for anything other than being a SOM. 3. Regarding my contribution, I pay all the bills and do the investments, for our joint future, and also pay for all our MISC expenses, clothes, gifts, travel etc. On top of that I give her pocket money, it's not much though. She's very careful with money, so thankfully she doesn't spend unnecessarily, whereas I am the opposite lol. So I can't think of a time when she's wanted something and I've refused because her requests are manageable and I'm not the type to refuse. I do try and chip in with house after my job whenever I can, but obviously can't be compared to her contribution in the home as primary caregiver. 4. I feel no sense of entitlement to her inheritance and I have never asked her for it. I know it's hers and I understand the laws behind it. I just felt undone by being the sole financial supporter and contributor while she has her books separate, which is why I suggested to her that if she wants to boost our savings for our future I can contribute to the joint account and she can match it from her inheritance. But at the end of the day family trumps money, and if she continues insisting I solely put it towards the joint I will do so because I wouldn't want to risk my marriage or my children over some cash accounting treatment. Original post. Backstory. My wife, 27F, doesn't work, and doesn't want to either, because she takes care of our young children and manages the house, cooking, cleaning etc. She says that if she were to work, the children would get neglected, we'd need to hire a nanny, someone to periodically clean etc. So she says it makes sense for her to not work. She has a fat inheritance from her parents which she has made clear is only her money, and is in her personal bank account. I, 27M, work as the sole earner for the family. I pay for everything and we live a moderate to decent lifestyle. I also take out separate investments for our future, retirement, kids' education etc. However, once all the bills plus investments are paid for, the leftover, or savings, I'd like to keep in my own personal account, especially since I do not have any inheritance or savings from before. I'd like to make myself financially stable. My wife says that all savings should be for our future and the residual money should go into a joint account. She's wise with money and would save the residual, but it would be in a joint access account. I've offered that I'll put the money in a joint account as long as she matches the amount, by transferring from her personal to our joint, like a 401k lol for our combined future. However, she insists that her money is hers alone and only I should be contributing to the joint account. Am I the asshole for wanting to keep the residual savings to myself? You're not the asshole. However, it sure sounds like you're married to one. What's yours is hers and what's hers is hers. Not the asshole. If she doesn't want to share, then you don't have to either. Not the asshole, but you two need help desperately to work on these issues. It's going to cause massive conflict and resentment. Only I should be contributing to the joint account. Not a whole lot of jointness there. This is very weird. You guys seem to have weird hang-ups about sharing and money. I'd use the help a therapist to work through it. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, but generally inheritances are not considered communal money. They belong to the person the inheritance was given to. So if you were to divorce, the inheritance would be considered hers. Not the asshole. Yours is ours but mine is mine? Your wife is out of line. Keep your savings separate. Not the asshole. If she won't share, you don't have to either. It's a two-way street. Am I the asshole for telling my bio family we aren't family? Edit. My bio sister is 22 and I'm 18. I don't know the specifics of her experience, just that she most likely was not being abused to the same extent or at all, as she was fostered to our bio grandparents and our bio parents were allowed contact, then she was returned to them a few years later. I was removed from my bio parents at around 6. I know that there was abuse, but I don't remember most of it and I have not looked into it. I was adopted very quickly and have always considered my adoptive family my real family. My bio parents have tried to get into contact with me several times since I've turned 18. They apparently turned their lives around shortly after I was adopted and have 3 other kids. I've always ignored their messages and blocked their numbers, but my sister recently messaged me a very long paragraph online saying how she had always known about me growing up and that my absence was a wound, and that our bio parents are good people and we have to heal together as a real family. I responded that our bio parents were horrible to me and how they are now doesn't change that, and that we would never be a real family, because I already have one. I blocked her before she responded, but looking back I was really harsh. I've never looked for the specifics of my childhood and I haven't really given my bio parents a chance. Am I the asshole for how I responded to them reaching out? Edit, update. Wanted to start with a thanks because all of the responses have been really helpful. I realized I needed more context on my bio family, so my mom and I talked about her childhood, then eased into her and my dad adopting me and why, but not the abuse itself. I had a small panic attack while writing this, but I'm glad I know. So my bio parents and my parents are both from a somewhat medium-sized area that has a large religious community. It's a Christian denomination that, as my mom put it, wanted to uphold the virtues of Christ. But the virtues were less virtuous and more indoctrination. My mom's family was kind of on the outskirts and she moved a few hours away, got married etc. I was born with a raised red birthmark on my neck and partially my face. It's normal and usually fades around 2-3. My bio family and their church saw it as a devil's mark, as 17th century as that sounds. When I was around 6, the birthmark wasn't raised or as bright, but still there and red, and I started having behavioral issues. This was apparently a sign of the devil, possession, so for months my bio family and their pastor, priest, exorcised and baptized me, as well as using various other ways to drive the devil out. Knowing this actually makes sense lol. The memories I do have of the abuse have been contextualized. My mom was present for a baptizing thing while visiting her parents and she immediately called CPS, who removed me after one visit. No one thought they were doing anything wrong, so they were very open with CPS about what was happening. My bio parents and grandparents refused to comply with CPS regarding stopping the baptizing, so I was not placed with family but with my mom and dad because they knew somewhat of the environment I was in. My mom tried to get custody of my older sister, but according to CPS there was no evidence she was being abused other than witnessing my abuse. After a few years with our grandparents, bio parents got custody back. Learning this was interesting. It honestly sounded like something out of a Netflix documentary, but I guess I always knew that why I was removed would be interesting because of how quickly I was adopted. Thanks again. Not the asshole. Your bio sister may have the best intentions, but she probably doesn't know the truth. She's been told a version of events, but I doubt she's been told the truth. So I don't think she's an idiot, I just think she's naive. But I would just continue to block everyone. They are no longer part of your life, they are no longer your family, you have to move down, and that is the best choice for you. There's a saying I remember a friend used to say from about the 3rd grade, wanting ain't getting. They can want all kinds of things, doesn't mean they're going to get them. It sounds like they've created a narrative around you, that is based in fantasy. Live your life. Happy for you that you, real parents, helped raise the emotionally intelligent person that you are. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You are entitled to your feelings. You are not ready to establish contact with your sperm and egg donor at this point in time. You may never be ready to. You already have a family. Good luck. Not the asshole. If you're not comfortable having a relationship with them, then they should respect that. Sure, you could have said it nicer, but you are entitled to feel the way you feel and maintain relationships that you want, not for others. Not the asshole. Your real family is the one you choose and chooses you. You do not owe them a relationship. They had little to nothing to do with the person you are today, and they might as well be strangers. No real answer. You don't really have any reason to reconnect with them. But I feel like if your sister wanted to meet you and get to know you, without the parents of course, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Simply because that's the only way you'll know if your parents changed or not. But I'm gonna go with not the asshole. Not the asshole. You don't owe them anything. While it might be hard for them that you were taken away from the family, it doesn't entitle them to be a part of your life. If you're not ready, maybe you never will be. I think that's totally okay and to be expected, honestly. Not the asshole as long as you were very direct and not cruel but firm. She wasn't the one who abused you after all. Am I the asshole for taking back my sister's stepdaughter's invitation to appease my niece? Throwaway account. I, 43 female, have a sister, Judy, 46 female, who has a daughter, Lori, 16 female, from a previous relationship and a son, David, 11 male, with brother-in-law, Tom, 48 male. Before Tom married Judy, he was in a previous relationship with a woman who developed an obsession for alternative medicine when his daughter, Sarah, 15 female, was still a baby, and it ruined the relationship. I'm not too familiar with the details, but Tom had full custody and Sarah's mom was only allowed supervised visitation for a limited amount of time. Although, she rarely ever showed. Tom despises his ex and told Sarah that she was free to have a relationship with her mom when was 18, but until then he would never allow it. In spite of everything, Sarah loves her mom very much and always wanted to see the good in her. One day when the family was out of town, their home got ransacked. Things were broken, stolen, and certain areas were destroyed. Obviously the authorities got involved, and it turned out that Sarah was secretly meeting up with her mom and took advantage of the situation to rob the family. This has clearly been hard on everyone, but Lori has been especially angry over the situation since one of the items stolen was a heart-shaped locket that her deceased great-grandmother gave her. She died when Lori was 8, so she knew the woman very well, and it was a family heirloom as well as the last gift that Lori ever got from her. Not to mention most of the photos of her great-grandmother were destroyed too. Lori has just been so angry and refuses to live with Judy until Sarah gone. She's staying with her dad, and never wants to see her again. Before all this happened, my husband and I were planning a trip to Hawaii, pre-COVID, and Lori, Sarah, and David all asked if they could go. All the adults agreed, but Lori has expressed not wanting Sarah to come. I talked it over with my husband, our kids and Lori's dad, and everyone was cool with it, so I called Judy explaining the situation, and she and brother-in-law blew up at me. They said that it wasn't fair to Sarah, who's an innocent kid, but the way I see it is actions, well-meaning or not, have consequences. Am I the asshole? Edit. Because I keep seeing this, I just wanted to clarify some things. 1. After the authorities got involved, it was proven that Sarah was having secret communication with her mom. Sarah never admitted this on her own. 2. Sarah denies having any prior knowledge of the planned robbery, but I don't see why she would admit it if she did. 3. Lori's dad has fully custody and she is refusing to speak to her mom or visit, so legally speaking I only need to consult Lori's dad about taking her. 4. Technically, Judy and brother-in-law can prevent David from going, but there's no way he won't resent them for it. It's one of the things he's been looking forward to all of 2020. 5. By the time the authorities caught up to Sarah's mom, most of the items that were stolen were already sold off, so the locket will probably be lost forever. 6. Sarah has apologized and I do believe that she feels remorse, it just doesn't bring the locket back. 7. My own children are a lot closer to Lori than Sarah, so they're on her side and don't want Sarah to come. Edit 2. Due to the confusion, I would like to apologize when I said alternative medicine. I meant that Sarah's mom is an addict, which Sarah is well aware of, and not that she's into crystal healing type of stuff. 1. Tom and woman had a child, Sarah. 2. Tom and woman broke up. 3. Tom met Judy, who already had a child, Lori. 4. Tom, Judy, Sarah, and Lori moved into a house. 5. Sarah secretly met up with the woman and let her into the house. 6. The woman robbed the house, including some sentimental shit. 7. Lori moved out of the house to live with her dad. She never wants to see Sarah again. 8. Appa's planning a trip to Hawaii. Lori and Sarah want to go. 9. Lori doesn't want Sarah to go, so Appa rescinded Sarah's invitation. Not the asshole. Remind your sister and brother-in-law that Sarah passed along information that allowed X to plan a crime. Your niece lost not only her keepsakes but also her sense of security in her own home. Sarah does not need a trip to Hawaii. Not the asshole. If you are paying, then you have the right to invite or not invite them all. The family is going through some drama, so I probably wouldn't take them at this time. Sarah is 15, and while she doesn't have an adult brain, she sure knows it wasn't a good idea to let people come in and destroy the home or steal from her family. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems she was involved in the robbery. Actions have consequences, and if she is going to burn down the bridge to her family, she can't get mad when she wants to walk over it again. Not the asshole. Like it or not, Sarah bears some blame for Lori losing her treasured possessions. Lori is allowed to be angry about that. People are talking about how it's not fair to Sarah to exclude her. Well, in my opinion, it's not fair to Lori to expect her to just suck it up and make nice. Oof. That's a hard one. On one hand, you are punishing a 15-year kid for something her mom did. Did Sarah let her mom in the house and knew she was the one who robbed them? If she was knowingly part of it, then not the asshole. But if Sarah didn't know or wasn't involved in the act, then it's unfair to blame her for what a grown woman chose to do. That would make you the aw. Lori has every right to feel upset over the violation and loss of treasured items, but is not right in blaming Sarah for something her mom did, provided Sarah wasn't involved. I hope your family can come together and heal from this terrible incident, since the only real asshole is Sarah's mom. Info. Was Sarah actually involved in the robbery in any way? Or did her bio mom rob the family after gaining access to the home through an unwitting Sarah? The fact that your sister and brother-in-law are saying Sarah is an innocent kid makes me think that she wasn't involved. If that's the case, YTA for punishing her for what her bio mom did and encouraging Lori's attitude towards her. Lori has every right to be upset, but her anger at Sarah is misplaced. I actually feel quite bad for Sarah. She was taken advantage of by her mother, and her father clearly didn't handle things well in the first place. At the end of the day, I don't think it's the child's fault that the ex robbed them. And I think you are the asshole for trying to exclude her. The poor kid is already going through so much right now. She was prevented a way to have a safe relationship with her mother. She was then taken advantage of by said woman because she had to sneak around just to be able to meet her bio mom. I can't fault her for this. She's a kid who wanted to know her mom, and her father wouldn't allow even a safe space to meet her. Her house was robbed. She lost her sister. She's getting all the blame. You are the asshole. Sarah didn't rob anyone. Sarah had a relationship with her mom that her dad and stepmom were preventing instead of putting into place supervised contact. They made her mother forbidden fruit, so she sought out her mother. Her mother is the one wrong here, but everyone is enabling Lori to take it out on Sarah. Even going as far as to say, actions have consequences, when it comes to a child being desperate to have a relationship with her mom. Sister and brother-in-law should absolutely not allow any of the kids to attend. Lori needs therapy 100% more than a trip to Hawaii. As does Sarah.